Hello everyone, I am the Chubby Gourmet and welcome to another episode. Today we're making a relatively simple yet a little time-consuming dish, not for preparation, but in terms of slow cooking. We're going to make a lamb ragu. What is a ragu, you might ask? Ragu is a meat sauce, basically. Tomato meat sauce. Did not originate in Italy, actually. It originated with the French first, but it's become, over many years, an Italian type of dish. So we're gonna make a lamb ragu and we're gonna serve it over toasted croissants. That combination, especially when I show you how rich I make this particular recipe with the croissants, which are high in butter content, which is what makes croissants beautiful, it really comes out delicious. If you're new to our family, welcome. We are an international cooking and traveling channel. If you like what you see, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, and smash that notification bell. We upload new episodes every Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enough talk, let's start cooking. The first thing we're going to do is brown the meat. Now, I mentioned we're making a lamb ragu. What cut of lamb should you use? Ideally, the lamb shoulder is the best cut for this. And I've made it before with the lamb shoulder. It needs literally to slow cook in the oven for 2.5 to 3 hours if you're using shoulder. Now today, believe it or not, I could not, and I tried my best to get shoulder. So I've cut up about 1.5 pounds of rib meat. So this should slow cook a little quicker. What we're gonna do now, first thing, we're going to season the lamb meat with salt and pepper, seasoned generously, I might add. Now, I do want to let you know you should use a heavy bottom pot. I'm using a Dutch oven, which is the heaviest of the heavy bottom pots, actually. So I'm going to get this cast iron Dutch oven to temperature. I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to start adding my meat. Now, I don't want to crowd the pot with a lot of meat. We only got about 1.5 pounds here, but it still could be too much. So it's best to work in batches when you have too much meat for the pot. That lamb fat, the fat's where the flavor is. And I want to get a good browning on this, so I'm going to be in here for at least a few minutes browning the meat. I'm going to start removing this now, put them in a plate, and then we will start sauteing the mirepoix. They're little lamb McNuggets. Another tablespoon of olive oil. And we do the mirepoix next. So give them a good stir. Get the oil coating the veggies. And at this step, we don't want to hurry this step. I want to get the onions caramelizing, actually. What does that mean? I want them browned. I want the sugar coming out of them. And then we're going to add the garlic. We're going to brown, not burn, brown the garlic. Then we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of the tomato paste. So this step's a little bit of effort, but it's worth it for the flavor. I'm going to season the mirepoix with some salt and pepper. Once we add the garlic, it's going to have a heavenly odor to it. It's already smelling good, but garlic is magical. Celery, not necessary. See, they're starting to soften, which is exactly what we want. Soften and shimmer, shimmery. I will get my glove. The mirepoix onions are translucent. Now I've got about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic. I love garlic. And if you also love garlic, let me know in the comments below. I'm a garlic fiend. So I'm gonna add the garlic, and that's only gonna be for a couple of minutes. And as you can see, we've got some bits of the lamb that are stuck to the bottom of the pot. And we're gonna do a process called deglazing. It's another fancy cooking word meaning use the wine and scrape those bits. Those bits are where all the flavor is. So you don't wanna skip that step. Typically, if you're using a wine, you use a dry red wine. I'm not doing that. I'm using the Spanish Madeira, which is a fortified wine. Fortified wines are basically regular wine with some distilled wine added. It gives it a much richer flavor. Now I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. This is another important step. And what you want to do here is swirl it around, try to coat as much of the vegetables as you could with the tomato paste. I'm gonna leave it in a little longer because I wouldn't mind browning the tomato paste a little bit actually. It's all about flavor. Next, we're gonna deglaze. And if you take a close look, you can see all the stuff that got stuck to the bottom of the pan. That's why we deglaze. We don't wanna lose that. Because like I said, that's where the flavor is. Now, when you're deglazing, don't dump all the wine in one shot. Little by little. That's the problem with also with an electric stove. Stuff slides around on you. And I'm using my wooden spoon to scrape those bits. I've added about a cup of the red wine, almost all of the cup. And what I'm gonna do, I want that to reduce by about a half. In other words, boil and evaporate about half of what I added. As far as I can tell, the bottom of the pan is scraped clean. Deglazing worked. Surprise, surprise. And I've reduced a good half of that wine that I put in. I'm gonna add about a cup of the beef stock. I'm going to add tomatoes, which I'm gonna try not to squirt tomato juice all over the place like I've done before while I crush them, like that. I'm just gonna crush them with the spoon. And we're going to add the meat back. And last but not least, I've got a generous amount, at least 10 sprigs of thyme, 3 bay leaves, and a few sprigs of rosemary. Now we're gonna cover the Dutch oven and we're gonna place it in a 320, 325 degrees Fahrenheit or about 160 degrees Celsius. Slow cook it, because we want that meat tender. We should be able to shred it with a fork. We've been cooking for about 2 hours, 40 minutes or so. And what I'm going to do is take the croissants and put them in the oven for like the next 10 minutes or whatever, just to toast them a little. You can always just toast them on the stove as well. Okay, what I'm gonna do is remove the croissants. Then I'm gonna take the Dutch oven out. Buttery croissants. Dun dun dun. Oh. I'm just taking out some of the stems and bay leaves from the herbs that we added. Well, we made little sandwiches out of them, which is not absolutely essential, but it seemed like a nice thing to do at the moment. I'm dying to get a taste of this. As I mentioned, we used rib meat because I just could not get hold of lamb shoulder. The shoulder is a better cut for this particular dish to make this ragu, but it's still very tasty, especially with those buttery croissants. They're sinful. Now that's comfort food. I feel comfortable.
You can so hang off your mouth.
The lamb is so tender, I could have taken 2 forks and shredded the lamb, which is also acceptable. But the pieces I had cut are so small as it is, I didn't bother. But it's so tender, I could have shredded them with 2 spoons. Honestly, it's that tender. Well, there you have it, folks. Lamb ragu on croissants. Very hearty, very rich. The wine you deglaze with does make a difference. I think I nailed it. If you make this and you agree that I nailed it, comment below. Let me know how your nailing went. And if not, tell me that too. Subscribe if you like what we're doing. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. And until next time, hasta lasagna.